Smithy of Malgarth. The bacon sizzled in the pan of justice. An old man stood before the stove, his shoulders wide and broad, his hair thinning and grey, but trimmed short. The chainmail shirt he was wearing was aged and had many chinks in it, but it was free from rust. He cracked an egg open on the edge of the frying pan with enough aggression to let the yolk break upon impact, just as he liked. He licked his lips at the thought of this Sunday morning breakfast. Shuffling to one side, he started to slice bread from the loaf he picked up at Sally's bakery in town the other day. She used to put the little seeds on the top, which he liked a lot. They got caught in his beard and made a good snack for later. He gripped the bread knife of truth and cut 2 nice wedges from the bread. There was no need to be frugal any longer. The fields were yielding good crops again, and the farmers, woodsmen, and city folk were happy. Nobody was trying to blow them up, no dragons were falling from the sky, no goblin horde was encroaching on their walls. Peace was good for the city. He paused for a moment and sipped his coffee from the chalice of honour. Then, walking to the door of his little shack, he opened it. It was raining outside, but his fire was lit, and he was snugly and warm inside. The smell of bacon wafted past him and out into the forest. The raindrops mesmerized him as he hugged his warm coffee chalice, his wise eyes of blue staring off into infinity as memories of ages past flashed before him. The knights in their armour, the pennants fluttering in the breeze in a multitude of colours, sigils and emblems aplenty, more than any man cared to learn nor describe in 15 pages of text. The churning of mud as 1,000 horses charged across a wet field, the roar of defiance from the drow warriors, the lances levelled and braced for impact. He smiled. Those were the days. That was when he felt alive, silencing wrong speakers and mistruth fools with the full force and authority of divine providence, vanquishing the denizens of dark and ominous places beneath the land and exposing them to the light of his God. He blinked and realized he was wielding the bread knife of truth aloft in a fairly aggressive stance. He quickly put it down and hurried over to his bacon and eggs, which were browning nicely in the frying pan of justice. He carefully scooped out the 2 rashers and laid them on the bread, then extracted the egg, mostly in one piece, and laid that on the top, before delicately slicing the whole thing into a diagonal sandwich. A bit like the crest on his old shield mounted to the wall, but cut in half. Tomorrow he would make 2 bacon and egg sandwiches and reform the crest of Malgarth. But for now he held aloft his creation. Behold the bacon and egg sandwich of truth, justice, and the Malgarthian way. Amused by his own thoughts, he turned towards the door to take his seat and watch the rain in quiet contemplation. A silhouette was obscuring the doorway, hood up with rain dripping off them. He opened his mouth to speak, and the crossbow bolt went through it, pinning his tongue to the back of his skull and severing his spinal column at the same time. The lethal venom it delivered into his bloodstream didn't help him very much either. The bacon and egg sandwich fell to the floor, uneaten by his lips. It would, however, provide sustenance to 4 squirrels, 3 rats, 2 dozen ants, and a rather pudgy cat called Mauve. Smithy of Malgarth's view rocketed skyward, leaving behind the vast green forest, high above the clouds and beyond into the void of a velvet-black sky bespeckled with pinpricks of light. Leaving behind the small globe he had called home, so tiny in the vast emptiness around him. It was odd. He felt whole and perfectly alive, but the binary star system he was passing was clearly not the usual thing you saw in the forest, unless one of those mushrooms had dropped in his coffee again. He was probably dead, and on his way to meet his God, whom he had served diligently for almost a century. He was just coming accustomed to this transition and contemplating meeting his God, what to say for the first time when you meet your God kind of thing, when he started to slow down and stop in a long line of stationary people suspended in space. The One appreciates your visit, and your prayers are important to us. Please stay in the line, and one of our divine service agents will be with you soon. You are number 46,295 in the queue, said a voice from somewhere inside his head. The line went on a long way, stretching off behind a nearby nebula. What? Number how much? But I am Smithy of Malgarth, the chosen one of the one. I'm the one, he said, beating his chainmail chest with a clenched fist. Wielder of the blessed and beloved, most holy sword of fiery death and justice. Waiting in line. He leaned to have a look round the line. This is outrageous. I want to speak to somebody with authority. Our automated system has detected that you wish to make a complaint. We are now transferring you to one of our Divine Service complaint agents, who will resolve this complaint to your satisfaction. We are sorry for any inconvenience that this delay may cause. You are number 46,295 in the queue. Smithy began to growl low, a tone of distinct disapproval. He planned the furore of verbiage that he would throw at the unfortunate Divine Service agent that took his call. His sense of indignation that he was being made to wait an eternity to find out how he was going to spend his eternity growing with every second which passed. Or was it? If he was dead, was time still passing? He glanced at the pinpricks of light all around him. They were still and motionless. No flags fluttering in the breeze, no clouds moving in the sky. He licked his finger and held it up. It was cold in space, but there was no wind he could detect. He wasn't hungry, despite the journey to get here, which seemed to take an awfully long time, now he thought about it. Yet for some reason he still yearned for a bacon and egg sandwich.